I'm going to call the Parks and Rec meeting to order. It is November 17th, 2015. Can you please call roll?
Mr. Bricker?
Here.
Ms. Cunningham?
Here.
Ms. German? Ms. Hibbinger?
Here.
Ms. Lamar? Mr. Politis?
Present.
Ms. Smith? Councilman Jones?
Here.
Vice Chairwoman Davis? Here. Chairwoman Lash?
Can I have a motion to excuse Ms. Smith, Ms. German, and Ms. Lamar?
I so move.
I will second.
Can you please call roll?
I'm sorry, who seconded? I did. Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Ms. Hibbinger?
Yes.
Mr. Politis?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Davis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. We have some minutes to approve. Hopefully we have enough this time.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from our August 18th meeting?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Can you call roll, please?
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Ms. Hibbinger?
Yes.
Mr. Politis?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Davis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 15th?
Motion to approve.
I so move.
I'm sorry,
We have a motion for Ms. Hibbinger to approve the minutes on September 15th.
and second was by Ms. No.
You call roll, please?
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Ms. Hibbinger?
Yes.
Mr. Politis?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Davis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. And then can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 20th?
Motion to approve. I'll take the second.
Can you please call roll?
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Ms. Hibbinger?
Yes.
Mr. Politis?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Davis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 6 is public comments, which does not look like we have any this evening. So we will move on to the update from the Y.
Good evening. He's getting a chair. I took this one, so. I'm Matt Bruns from the YMCA. This is Matt Keifel. Matt Keifel's been with the Y here in Delaware since the beginning. Actually was here before the Y even opened up out here, so he was a big piece of getting things started. He came from the North Branch. Matt handles a lot of the membership items. He's also a part of all the initiatives. If you guys have been able to volunteer at different events and things, Matt's always there. Big part of the team for us in helping us serve the community in the best way possible. I'm very fortunate to have worked with him as long as I have, but Matt will be leaving us in December. So I'm going to let Matt come to talk a little bit. I'll let him talk, but I just want to say how much I appreciate what he has done, not just for the Y, but for our partnership with the city as well. He knows how much it means to work with this partnership and make sure we get the community members to serve the best that we can. So.
Hello. I didn't realize how formal this was. It wasn't me. I do want to say thank you for the opportunity, obviously, to work here. Leaving Delaware actually has been a lot more of a difficult decision than I thought it was going to be. Getting to know the people here, getting to experience the city, and getting to work with the amazing staff at the Y and also with our city partners has been phenomenal for me. I am very excited about the next opportunity that I have. I think having experience as much as I have had here is going to really help me immensely in my next role. And I have every intention of coming back. I'm going to go to the Jug, I swear. I'll see everybody there. First Fridays, and the restaurants here are, near and dear to my heart, of course. But I do want to say thank you for the opportunity, of course, to be a part of Delaware and obviously serve, in the role and the capacity that I have. I think Delaware has a ton of potential still. The Y is doing great things. Our membership is continuing to grow. I'm working on an initiative right now that will outline our membership plan for the next year. And I have no plan of not finishing it. If anybody knows the type of person I am, I don't leave things undone. So I have every intention of finishing that initiative and outlining it for the staff before I leave. So I do want to say thank you so much for the chance to work with everybody here in Delaware.
Thanks, Matt. I'm going to highlight just a couple things that are on the YMCA and Recreation Services part of this tonight. Number one, the healthy weight in your child. I don't know if Jeremy talked about this last time or not, but the YMCA's of Central Ohio, there were 4 branches picked, and we were actually, the YMCA of Central Ohio was one of 5 in the country that were able to be the first part of this healthy weight in your child program. So we were one of the pilot programs that got to be able to do this. We were able to do this because of our success with the diabetes prevention programs that we've had over the last couple of years. But it's a great program. It's for children ages 7 through 13. It is at no cost to them or their families, but it gets them into the Y for a year. They meet weekly the first 3 months. They meet every other week the next 3 months. 4 months. And then every other week the next 4 months, and then monthly the last 4 months. But it's a program for the child and their parents. Just obviously talks about nutrition, being active. They get together in a group for about an hour, and then the kids go do activity for about an hour under the, do you remember the acronym, the training they do? That's right. They go do some activity.
It's called like Joke or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe your replacement will remember these things. But it's a great program. So we're very fortunate to have that, and I just want people to know about it because we will hopefully get things worked out where insurance and other things will take care of this after this pilot portion of it is taken care of, so that we can continue to offer it either at no cost to the participant or a very minimal cost to the participant. So we want to keep this going, but it is. The child has to be in the 95th percentile of obesity and has to be recommended from a medical
it's called Catch.
profession. Catch. Oh, you're back. Back. Yes, catch program. Yeah. We'll leave on a high note. Okay, so that's the Healthy Weight in Your Child program. The other thing I did want to mention, because it's new, on November 14th, we had an indoor soccer tournament. I don't know the numbers on that one yet, but do you know by chance? We did have enough to have, I think there were about 5 or 6 teams signed up. So for the first year to have that many teams to at least do the tournament itself was great. So we used the guard gym, and I'm sure Jeremy will have more to talk about that, but it's nice to know that we have that partnership with the garden and utilizing that space out there with some new programs as well. I'll let you read about most of this other stuff, except for down to the special events. Calls to the North Pole are coming up, and December 10th. If anyone wants to help with that, we'd love to have you help. Our team leaders make calls as elves, and some of our board members and part of Rogers Youth Development Committee, they end up calling as Santa or Mrs. Santa. They do some of those calls themselves as well. So if anybody wants to help out with that, we'd love to have you. And I also want to thank anybody that was able to make it to the Halloween party. We had good weather till about 6 o'clock. So the first couple hours, maybe 6:30, first couple hours went really well. Got really a lot of hot dogs and such, and had a lot of, ended up having the bouncy houses and such inside because we knew the bad weather was coming. But even with a little dampness, it was a great event, a lot of people out there. And then the last thing, we do have a co-ed volleyball tournament coming up where the proceeds will go to our Livestrong program, which we are collecting money this time of the year. We kind of raised money to do 2 Livestrong classes in 2016. These are at no cost to the cancer survivor to come in and take a 12-week class with us. And we have a couple staff that work with them and kind of get them back to feeling normal again, physically and mentally and emotionally. So another great cause there that we're doing, but that program will happen on November 22nd. So if anyone's interested in putting a team together, we will be more than happy to register you out at the Y. And that's all I have.
Comments? I would just say, Matt, good luck in your new role. Obviously, their gain is our loss after Matt spoke highly about you. So thank you for all you've done for Delaware. Anything else?
Do I have to repeat that?
Thank you. So it's in the microphone. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I have one question. Matt,
Yes.
did you have a conversation with Jackie Walker today about the management agreement with the city, and it's a month late?
The program report,
No, the yearly management agreement between the city and the YMCA, which is due October 15th of each year.
the program report is what I'm thinking. Is it?
You may, we call it
Yeah,
management
has like
agreement.
numbers and different things. Has
Yeah.
finances
Am I-
and the
Dan, am I
numbers
calling
on.
it the right thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
My
are we talking
my
about the
bad.
same thing?
Your official title is correct. I think the white
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I actually have got it today. I'm going to review it tonight. I emailed Jackie and she will have it tomorrow by noon.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry about the lateness on
Hey,
that.
what happens? You gotta get a bionic hip. I'm just saying it's gonna come up Monday night.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
All right.
Yep, understand. Thank you.
Any other comments for the Y? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we will move on to the update of parks.
Few things to go over. Veterans Park, we had our weekly meeting out there today. It's progressing nicely. The concrete's been poured in several of the locations now. The splash pad's been poured. It's pretty neat to see the dinosaur footprints in the concrete out there, if you will. The concrete was also poured underneath the other shelter today. So it's coming along very nicely. Dog park, once again, staff was out there. We got the area aerated and fertilized in the past couple weeks. Went out there today and just the fertilizer's really taking it over. You can tell a big difference there. If you haven't been out to Smith Park for a while, the fishing pier is it's nearing completion. Fishing/observation pier. It's nearing completion. It should be wrapped up this week, if not at least next week. It's really about it in terms of our park levy funded projects. A couple of the other things that I wanted to mention to you was connections with Make a Difference Day that I mentioned, I think last month to you. We had about 60 Ohio Wesleyan students come down and make a difference there. They raked a lot of leaves. You couldn't tell the next day, but that day you could definitely tell a difference. So we thank Ohio Wesleyan and Connections for that. Staff started to remove and replace some of the play structures, the swing sets and the slides. Those came in. We've started to remove those. We haven't really started to replace those yet, but we do have them. They came in yesterday, I believe. The greenhouse out to 440 East William, they actually started the construction of that today. They're hoping to be wrapped up by the end of the week. Tomorrow with the rain, not sure how much they'll progress tomorrow. Street trees, staff planted about 250 trees. We contracted out roughly about 100 of those trees. We've got about 8 trees left to plant. That was citywide. Hidden Valley, a little update on Hidden Valley as we met last week with 4 different contractors. Prices are supposed to be back in Friday for that project, and that was some of the relocating the restrooms upstairs and making some more ADA accommodations out there. I think that was about it on that. The other thing that I had mentioned to you guys, I've been looking at this for a while. Last week did some research, reached out to some other golf courses both private and public, that were 9-hole courses, to see where our prices were compared to other courses. The average price during the week, if it was municipal owned, city owned, we were right in line with those prices. Weekend rates, we were below the average market. Now, if you combine the private 9-hole course compared to that, the average cost was like $10.45 for a weekday, and $11.25 for a weekend. So what I would like to do is, our rates right now, if you turn to the last page of your agenda packet, as you can see, Monday through Friday, our 9-hole rates are $8.50, and on the weekends, we're $9.50. What I'd like to recommend to this board is that we raise our weekend rates to $10. So a 50-cent increase in that rate, which put us more in line with other municipal-owned courses and private-owned courses.
You said it was 950 to 1050?
$9.50 to $10. Yeah.
When was the last time you changed those prices?
You know, I could not find anything on there. It's been a while. And that was at least be 4 years. Because that I think the last time we raised rates, and I was when we moved to Public Works under Tim Browning, I think is the last time we raised rates, and that was 4 years ago.
Do you want to change the 18 holes then too?
Yeah, just 50 cents on both. So from 13 to 13.50.
What kind of response do you anticipate receiving from?
My regular golfers are Monday through Friday, and my regular golfers are primarily membership holders.
So they're not impacted then?
No. And I took that into consideration before I even wanted to do this proposal, because I don't want to affect my members.
Sure.
And that. But the weekend, I thought, let's get in line with what other courses are doing out there. So.
Can I ask a question about membership? So if they have a membership, do they pay greens fees or no?
No. If they rent a cart, they pay for a cart rental, but they don't pay green fees. And we actually, we'll bring something more for you guys on that next meeting. We ran a report last week on what our memberships were last year compared to this year, what our greens fees were this year to last year, so on and so forth. Pretty much everything at the golf course compared from 14 to 15. And we noticed that our memberships were down, but our punch cards were up. And so that's both a good thing and a bad thing. But, you know, your punch card to me, and I'm saying this on record, but a punch card to me is that you're getting your bang for your buck, because you don't know how many times you're going to be able to golf. So by buying a 10-round punch card, I can always go back and buy another 10-round punch card if I go through one. So I think that's why we're seeing the increase in that. And Linda and I had that discussion last week when we did that report. So it's a good thing. We're selling a lot more punch cards.
In your report, where the 622 rounds played, does it show what that was last year as well?
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yep. Yeah, we have those for per month, and we have them per year.
Okay.
And so we'll finish that, and then I got one more thing on the golf course that I've mentioned to you guys before too, but I wanted to get your buy-in on that. Chris or Dan, I'm not sure, do we have to take that before council?
The rate increase? I would have to assume so, just it's a revenue generator.
So we would need your guys' recommendation if you stand behind that or not, so that we can take that before city council. I wanted to get it now instead of March of next year, and that way we had plenty of time to get it before council, seeing how it's budget time and everything else, they'll be kind of tied up on
My
that.
recommendation is that we approve it tonight, so, because we
Right,
start budgeting
right.
next week, so.
I think it's a good idea.
Move to recommend?
I'll second.
Can I ask one more question?
Point of order? Sure.
Go for it. Would you raise the rates of the punch cards then too?
Not right now.
So you're only raising the regular weekend rate.
Correct.
If you want the amounts.
You're looking at all the weekend rates, right? Senior, regular, student.
How do you want this motion to be read?
Can you amend the motion to just say it's
I move-
50-cent increase for?
I move
each?
to recommend the 50-cent increase for fees at the golf course.
Does that help you?
Is that,
Weekends.
does that help?
Just weekend rate.
Weekend rates at the golf course.
And I second whatever Matt just said.
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Ms. German?
Yes.
Ms. Hibinger?
Yes.
Ms. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Politis?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Davis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Madam Chairman, can I also reflect for the record that the rest of our committee has arrived as well, so it's noted for the record?
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Okay, is that it for, you have more, Stacy?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll just work down the page here. If you go to the additional options at the golf course, right now, if to the far right column where it's driving range buckets, we offer 4 different sizes of buckets. In our report that we were looking at, we don't, and talking with golf course staff, we don't sell a lot of the medium-sized buckets. So I just want to eliminate the medium-sized buckets. There's not a big difference in, I think it was 12 balls or something like that between a medium and a large bucket. So it just makes very little sense to have 4 different sizes if we can just have 3 different sizes. So I just wanted to let you guys know that is what my plan is down there, is just to eliminate a size. And I know that the staff is very pleased with that decision. The other thing that I've mentioned several times here is an open and closed date. And I want to have a specific date that right now we are putting on the memberships and the punch cards, and Linda's got copies of those, is March through October. Now that's not saying that November 1st I'm not open because the weather's nice and that I won't recognize a membership or a punch card. But there's really nothing that says when we're open and when we're closed. And last week, I was very close to closing the course because of temperatures and the weather. And we got a lot of our members weren't very pleased with that. So I stayed open again this week, but we posted it yesterday that Thursday, the 19th, will be our last day. But I want to have the backing of this board with a date, whether we choose November 1st and March 1st is our opening, and then November 1st is our close date. You know, and if weather's nice, I mean, there's nothing that says I can't be open. But I know last week I was down there, I think it was Friday for the meeting on the renovations, and I had a guy come in, it was like 48 degrees and raining. And I'm like, you know, really? It's a little bad out there today. I think that was like Thursday or Friday when the winds were 40 and 50 miles an hour. So we ended up having 3 people that day. And it's just not good business. And I want to make sure that we are running the golf course like a business, and I want the backing of this board to have those open and closed dates. So
I have a question. I agree that there should be open and closed dates, but then you're saying that we might stay open if the weather.
no, I want to have a
Yeah.
drop dead date. I want to basically leave what it is now, March through October, but I want to have November.
Oh, sorry.
November, you know, if we say it's I'm open to suggestions. So if we say November 10th, then it's November 10th and the golf course is closed.
Okay, so even if we have another rare occurrence like this in November where it's so nice, we're closed,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was confused about. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you
I
have
agree with that.
numbers from previous years that state what you've had in November?
We have the daily too. I mean, I can tell you daily, I can tell you
I
monthly.
mean, do you see a pattern where, I mean, obviously the weather changes every year. This year it's nice. Last year there was sun ground by now. But do you have on average, we've stayed up until November 4th or whatever that is?
We could get that. I mean, our daily reports would have that. We'd have.
So I think that makes the most sense for, I mean, I'm a golfer and if it's 60 degrees out, I'm going to go play. And it's November's that iffy, could be nice, could be snow. You just don't know.
Correct.
So, but if you had the dates that said, looking back at the past 10 years, November 4th, we've had 20 golfers out, and that seems to be about the last time we have a fair amount of people on the course.
Well, and the other thing that I kicked around was, do you just say, let's just go back to what I said on the 10th. If we say November 10th is the drop dead date and it's closed, we need to have a temperature too. If it's above 50 from, just say October 28th through November 10th, we'll be open if it's above 50. But if it's 49, like right now, our hours are 11 to 4:30. So really, all I'm getting in right now is members.
Right.
So you got to weigh that, but we can get that information for you. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems to, if you see a pattern, then obviously it doesn't make sense. I mean, if I have to wear gloves, I'm not golfing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But instead of an actual number date, Stacy, wouldn't it be better if you just say second Saturday of November, because the numbers are going to change? Instead of putting an actual definitive number, because what if the 10th falls on, it's going to rotate through. So that would stop you or prevent you from closing on a Wednesday or a Thursday versus on a weekend.
Possibly the second Sunday, so that you can get through the whole weekend.
Yeah, just word it, first day of, whatever day of whatever month, and then.
Well, what I'll do on this one is, I'll put something together for our next meeting, but the one thing that I need to know tonight is everybody good with March through October? Is that correct? What we need to make sure we got? Oh, I mean, if we sell them for Christmas.
Yeah, because we won't have anything.
Because just so you guys know too, like right now, if somebody were to come in, we give them the 10% discount for next year because they're buying for Christmas and stuff. So we don't want to lose that. So we do that, but we put it on the membership. So, it's fine if our date changes to November 10th or 15th or second Saturday or whatever. But if I can just say through October, we'll still let them use that membership. But I'd like to have that just in case we do sell some.
Do you need that recommendation on that and the removal of the medium golf buckets?
I don't need anything on buckets. I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you get asked about it.
Do you have any media outlets that lets people know when you're closed? Do you have a Facebook page or anything? Is there anything that says so members can check and see?
We have an answering machine.
And they do change that message. Like, of course, it's not today.
Yeah, they might change it a
Regular
couple of
people
times a
know.
day.
Yeah, they
Yes.
have their system.
What do other non-city owned courses, how do they do open, close season?
Most non-city owned courses will be open as long as they can be open, and they'll stay open year round if they can.
They'll open at there was a couple years ago in January for a couple days, it was 70 degrees. Every course that could be open was open in January. If they can be open, they'll make money.
That's
4 years ago, March was like exceptionally warm. We had a wonderful March. We were open almost the whole month of March. And now we haven't been because the weather just has not been conducive to it.
So do you need a formal recommendation that we implement open and close dates for the golf course?
And it being March to October.
No, we'll do the formal recommendation on the specific second Saturday
Okay.
or whatever
Okay.
we
So
decide to
you'll
do.
do that
But what
at the
I'd like
next
for you guys to do is think about that between now at our next meeting, because are we having a December meeting? Okay, so it'll be the January meeting, so you got 2 months to think about it.
Will that still work with your dilemma with the
Yeah,
selling?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
We'll leave the March to October on these, and won't print a whole lot of them. And then after the next formal recommendation, I can go in and change the cards.
I think it makes sense. I mean, if you talk to the members when they buy stuff and just say, this is good for all of 2016, we're open November 7th, it's good. But, there's a chance we could be closed October 31st.
Correct, and that's what we did this year when we changed it. We just
That
really
makes
didn't
sense.
do anything formal, so we wanted to make sure we did something a little more formal so that we were all on the same page.
Is that all you have then? Or you
I
still
think
have
that
the
is-
parks and-
Well, yeah, that's all I
Forestry?
have until you get the staff comment.
Hey, well, we're there. Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
What's the update, if there's one, between Kensington and basketball? There's a guy in the neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
that his dad does a lot of work and does repairs in Westerville parks and said he custom do a backboard.
That would be something that we'd have to take up with our risk management because we have never been able to do those types of things.
Okay. If you want his name or anything.
Yeah, just, you can give it to me.
And the current is 3,000, I think it was, you emailed, and then
Yep.
that did not count construction, right? It was the materials themselves were 3,000 and then,
We would
Construction.
install it, but yeah.
but yeah. Can-
Okay, any other comments for parks?
Yeah, just curious on the success of the pickleball courts, how those have, if we have heard of good reports of people using it.
Yeah, I mean, it's up and down. Of course, this time of year, everything's slowing down in the park system, but it's up and down.
They had a they had a little tournament there Saturday in the weather we had this weekend, and got some good feedback from that.
In the high school, it made a big splash. That people were talking about it. So
That's good. Any other comments? Okay, we will move on to staff comments. Stacy.
Speaking of Blue Limestone Park, we are actually on the evening of December 3rd. The Public Utilities Department, along with the Parks and Natural Resources Department, are being recognized for going with a Going Green Award for the work that was done at Blue Limestone. So, pretty neat little thing. Just wanted to make you guys aware of that. So, some of the work is being noticed by the Delaware General Health District. So, that is all I had.
Stacy, how are they recognizing? I mean, what does that entail? Do you guys are you guys getting together on December 3rd? and officially
They're having a recognition reception.
Okay.
And so we got invited to that beginning of the month. And so park staff as well as public utility staff, because we did that project together.
Yeah.
And there's more. I mean, all the PSG groups work together on that project, but we're getting recognized for that. So
Congratulations.
The Keep Delaware County Beautiful hosts that reception every year, and they give different awards out. So.
Congratulations.
thanks. Appreciate it.
Other comments?
I would like to recognize Celeste. She was appointed to the U.S. Senate Youth Program, and I'll let her talk a little bit. We got a request for information about her appointment to the board and what it entailed in it. So I'll let her, and congratulations.
thank you. I'm still in the running. You have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it, but I'm in the top probably 40 for the entire state. And if I do manage to become one of 2 people selected, I'll get to go to DC for a week. I'll meet with a justice of the Supreme Court, and I'll shadow either Rob Portman or Sherrod Brown. So I'm really excited.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good job. Yeah, keep us posted.
That's great.
Any other staff comments?
Oh, one more. Bike trail plan, staff met with that yesterday. Staff's going to reconvene in the next week or two, come up with some more things. And so hopefully at the January meeting, we'll actually have an update for you on the bike trail master plan. And that is it.
Good.
I got nothing.
Okay. Then we will move on to member comments.
I have
You want to start
none.
down there?
I'm good, got nothing. I got it.
I'm good.
I'll rock the boat. I just had a quick question, and maybe it's my newness to it, but I'm struggling with the identity of the board. I think it's awesome that we come in here and listen to updates from Parks and Rec, because I love what's going on in the city, and get to hear updates on the why, what's happening with the why. But I kind of feel like that's it. Like we're just kind of a sounding board to punch stuff off on. I don't know. I don't know what my expectations were joining the board, but I felt like I was going to, for lack of better words, make more of a difference than just say, that's great, yeah, that's a really good idea. And that's kind of all we do. Am I missing something? Is there something that's happened or happens, since we didn't come on until July, that happens before then? Is there something that the board has done in the past that we're not doing? I guess maybe that's all that we are doing. I feel like I should be making more of a difference than I am. How's that?
Well, I think you are making a difference for one thing, but so what are some of the things that the previous board has done is what Stacy's been implementing, which is those park levy improvements, which was, some significant improvements with the projects that are underway. We're sort of in a construction and maintenance mode on that sort of thing now. I guess the up and coming thing has been slow moving, but that's the bike plan. And you'll have some opportunity to be more involved with that. And honestly, some of the other things are, Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some opportunities for some self-directed things that you might be interested in, including improvements and costs and such that are happening out at the golf course and other things that come on in the future. When the splash spray and play comes on board, we'll have some opportunity to identify how that's operating and how it may be operated differently. And I mean, in a sense, you are an advisory board, so the things that you observe in the community and recommendations you have from yourself and others that you are associated with, bring that to this board and make recommendations here that can be taken to city council for additional improvements in it. And at some point, there'll be additional projects such as bike projects that come out as a result of the bike plan that we have some more engagement with as well.
And those are all things too that, I mean, you heard me mention it's budget time. So our budget just went to city council yesterday. Did you get that yesterday? Friday. But those are all things that, if you guys are out and about in the parks and seeing things and how I guess point you in that direction a little bit sometimes. But if you're seeing things that, man, it would be really nice to have this in this park. Those are the kinds of things that I need back so that I can put into a capital improvement budget or a budget. But, like Dan mentioned, I mean, the biggest thing, and right now, it is kind of that gray area because we're winding down our park improvement stuff. Linda, Jen, and Lamar can tell you that Nicole, how I say Lamar, Nicole can tell you that we spent a lot of time in the park improvement levy funded things with the previous board. But all that stuff was kind of done when you guys came on board, and we're still shifting gears, if you will, with that, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I think it's great to hear the updates, and I think everything the city's doing, is heading in the right direction. It's great. I just want to make sure that I'm being as productive or useful as I can be.
Okay, well, and going back to what I brought tonight with the golf course and that's to get you guys involved and get that backing from you guys and have your input on that, because, you know, Dan's my right-hand guy, or I'm Dan's right-hand guy, however you want to look at it, and Linda's the left, but, you know, to have other ears and mouths to speak on that and maybe think of something that we all three weren't thinking about on that really helps us out tremendously. So,
And I think you may remember when you first all came on board, we did have some discussions about what you thought your role might be, and I think this is probably a good opportunity to continue that discussion. We did talk about separating out in parks and recreation or other segments that we may be able to break them, because it is a large board, be able to break that out in, but it certainly, if you see things that you think would be better ways to be involved, engaged, and have an impact, we're all ears to do that.
I do think, I'll comment one more thing, and I don't think, I'll be careful that I word this, that it doesn't sound like I'm criticizing anyone here, because I'm absolutely not. I do think with some of the board members that left, there was a little more ownership and time spent in the park than those of us who are here have.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of knowing every park inside and out among those board members simply by time spent there. And it's not criticism at the end of the day. I'm not any more myself, just an observation on ownership. Seen in the transition a little bit. I don't know if anybody has more time to spend in the parks or whatever, but I do think there was a little more knowing the park inside and out than some previous members.
And I will add that going in 2016, we're trying to add a director position for the parks. And one of the things that council is tasking is we want to program parks, like how, if you're familiar with the preservation parks activities, we want to do that with our park system. So there's going to be more of that stuff coming down, like, you know, what are some ideas that we can do to do this in the park or that, or different events at the splash and play, whatever we're calling it. So there's going to be more of that stuff coming down in 2016. But I mean, the big difference is, again, I think we talked about this when we brought you on the board, is, you know, once the YMCA took over the recreation, a big chunk of what this board did was taken away, because the YMCA does that now. In the last board, you know, it was during the building of the YMCA and the building of all these additions to the parks. There was a lot more hands-on stuff. So Stacy's right, there's that transition period now. But I think we're gonna have a lot to do with the park system itself now, with the bike trails and with programming the parks and, you know, stuff like that. So if that's worth anything to you, know. So if that helps, I guess I should say.
I would also add, I mean, I've had this conversation in some separate meetings as well, and wanting to know how the board can be more active. So especially as we're ending the year, I think it's a time for us all, we can kind of just think about that too, of how we could be more active, and what we could bring to the board as well. I know when we first started, we had talked about, and maybe that'll be with the addition of that role, if that all goes, is coming up with different ways to highlight our parks and have special events in that. So that sounds like that kind of would coincide with what you're talking about. But then we meet back maybe in January. We're not meeting in December, correct? Because of the holidays.
Unless
So
you just are dying to do that.
I think everybody probably needs that extra time. But maybe when we come back in January, as we're getting ready to start into the 2016, we can have a discussion about that too. About maybe some different ways to be active.
And I guess I'd also point out that I think something that we forget, as you know, the YMCA works for the city. It contracts with the city. So if you have issues with the YMCA, you know, you still need to bring that to this board, and it's time to address it with Matt too. So even though they're running a program, they're still running under our direction. So if there's still programs that we want to see at the YMCA, if there's still bad things that we think are at the YMCA, the pool, we still have that authority to be passing that along to them.
I will mention one other thing that Matt didn't mention just now, because we're talking about tomorrow at the Healthy Living Committee, which is one of the committees at the Y. They have their 3 tags, one of them being Healthy Living, and we're trying to tie that healthy living into the business community for community improvement, community impact. And tomorrow morning, we're going to start the discussion to have a corporate field day in late May, early June, or sometime that date yet to be determined, that will be a corporate challenge, but instead of having like a Central Ohio YMCA does, it's teams that do different events on different days throughout the year. This is a one-day field day to kind of impact the community in a way that brings together the business and the residents in a way that is exciting, promotes business, gets more community business interaction going on. And that's another thing that we'll be bringing that to this committee in the next few months as a integration, and to get your input on that as well. Our first step is actually on December 2nd. Tomorrow we're meeting with that Healthy Living Committee to kind of put together our sales pitch to take to the community. We're taking that to the community through the businesses, through the Chamber of Commerce on the 2nd of December. We'll start pushing that with them to get the business input back to us, and then bring that to this committee and push it back out to the general public. And we expect you all to participate in the cornhole and dodgeball games that will have taking place that day. Those are the kind of things that are just generating steam and aren't really to the point where we'll be discussing them here, but something that you'll find in the future. And as Chris said, we'll have a parks director before too long that'll be able to be more engaged than I have, as wearing multiple hats in an organization.
I don't have anything else to add.
Let's see. Oh, I just have a question. I guess it would go to you, Dan. If we're working on the bike path idea and there's ample sidewalks, why is there share the road with the bikes thing like on Sandusky where there's no place? I mean, the way that it's spray painted on the lane is the bike could essentially have the entire lane, which I understand that. I personally would not be riding my bike on, South Sandusky Street with all the traffic that's on there. Where did that come from?
Well, that's actually a national push called Share the Road, and it's complete streets, road diets. That's some of the terminology you'll hear nationally, but an opportunity to make sure that there is a safe route for bike travel to be accomplished from one place to another, whether it's commuters or recreational biking or the serious spandex biker that's going down the road. And they're going to do that anyway. This is an opportunity to provide them routes that are identified as safe routes for that travel to occur. In the case of Sandusky Street, it wasn't practical to put in a separate lane for bikes, so we put that as a share the road, put the signs up that identify that the bikers do have the throughway there, and to be safe. And that you'll start seeing that throughout as we do our pavement improvement projects, like on Park Avenue. We're going to work to try to put a separate lane in there for bike traffic. If not, we'll do sharrows, and as we identify pathways through the community, there's multi-purpose trails, which are for those three types of pedestrians we identified. And I know that's a very thumbnail sketch of it, but I'd hope that when we do present the bike plan to you, that all is described in gory detail in there, and we can have some discussion with the consultant about what that means. And if you've ever been to communities like Madison, Wisconsin, Denver, some of those other places, you'll see that that's very common, particularly in downtown areas where you want to encourage that traffic to occur in your downtown to some of the businesses and into the parks. I mean, from park to park to park.
I can totally see that. It just seems that road is narrow as it is, and it just seems like, just that particular spot. We were driving down there today, and I was like, there's no way I would be, there's dump trucks and, all cars trying to zigzag all around each other and everything else.
And it's catch-22.
Okay.
I mean, you want to encourage the bike traffic, but
I'm
want
totally
to do it
for riding
safely.
bike places, but it just kind of, I think that was the only main question I had.
Okay. Well, we look forward to bringing that plan forward. I think the consultant and us have been overwhelmed with data that came out of that, because we had those plans at the library and at the Y and at this bike center over here, and had just phenomenal input, as well as 177 surveys, online surveys that came in. So we've got a lot of data we're trying to put together and prioritize. You'd like to prioritize based on, this is the project to do, but then you get environmental concerns, drainage concerns, grading concerns that are very costly, and you have the opportunities in some areas to get grants to do some of this work, in other areas you don't. So we're trying to weigh those opportunities to prioritize where it would happen, and hopefully have an alternate to the Sandusky Street path.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that just happened to be the one
Right.
thing I noticed. I mean,
Sure.
You
And
gotta
it's-
do what you gotta do with what you have at this point.
Same thing on Pennsylvania Avenue, which is our first test case in that. And
Yeah.
You'll see that as we, initially, you'll find the green signs that say this is a bike route, travel at your own risk in one sense, but this is the way to get from downtown to the Y or
Gotcha.
from
Okay.
High Wesleyan to Smith Park. And over time, we'll be able to create, to fill the gaps on our bikeways, we can do that off-road as opposed to on-road. So
Gotcha.
there's a progression over time. It'll probably 15 years before we actually get to that point.
Okay. Oh, you just made me think of something else. Is there plans eventually to connect, I guess it would be the back end of Lantern Chase or Lexington Glen or whatever you want to call it back there, back to Smith?
There are plans to take from, I can't remember that road.
Merrick.
Oh, no,
There you go.
now I'm speaking about the path up Troy Road. Take
Oh, well, that
from
works
from
too.
Pennsylvania Avenue to Smith,
Okay,
and also from Merrick, once Merrick gets in, to bring that up.
okay,
Bring Merrick through, and then the bike path would come on up
okay.
Smith Park, and actually work with Preservation Parks to take that on over to Gallant Preserve, to do a path along the railway there.
Nice.
So that, again, long-term plans,
Well, yeah.
but you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And Stacy and some of the staff are going to a meeting next week with a community group called Opal, this week, Olentangy, Powell, and Liberty, who are in the process of building from the Columbus Trail down there that goes through campus and on down to Columbus. They're trying to build up that up to High Banks Park. We'd like to bring that all the way up into the city from the south end, tie that into our 31523 project, tie that into the car dealership down there, and some of the development that's kind of on the cusp of happening in that area. And so there's a lot of pieces, parts to bring together, but most of this is identified in that bike plan, and if it's not now, it will be by the time you see it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Well, and I'll add one quick thing going back to what you mentioned. We've been working on the trail to Buttermilk since 2009.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know it's been bounced back and forth of, it's been brought up and then it's kind of been laid rest and then it's been brought back up, so.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you both.
Oh, and while we're on the subject, we are working right now to connect from Westfield over to Lantern Chase, where there's that gap there that
Okay,
I live in Lantern Chase, and you see some of these. And I saw a woman the other day pushing her kids in a stroller, carrying a dog, walking down Central Avenue, and pushing up over the hill up to Kroger, and I just can't believe that's happening. So we'd like to avoid some of that. So there's safety gaps, there's transportation gaps, pedestrian gaps, and there's some large corridor improvements for network connections that need to occur, and those are all included in that plan.
Cool. Yeah. I saw the dog park and the fencing looks amazing, and I posted it in a picture on Facebook. The little dog bone looks fantastic.
That's his idea.
Yeah. So kudos to you, Stacy, on that.
thank you.
And then second point on recreational thing, it's the Ironman
Yes.
into Delaware.
Mhm.
Kudos to whoever worked that negotiation out, and
That wasn't Stacy.
that wasn't Stacy. So,
You can act like it was.
thank you, Stacy. And it's actually already full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
people from all over the world, Germany, UK, Brazil, it filled up in 4 days, 2,500.
So if there's ever any conversation with the Ironman about expanding that pool of people, feel
Yes.
free to chip in. I'd love to see more people since I missed out on it. So
Well, Matt, we'll do a relay team for the second annual
absolutely.
Ironman half.
You get
But
the
I'm
bike
not.
part.
But I'm not running.
Yeah, I'm not learning either. So.
Okay, other than that, no more comments? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All right, we are adjourned at 7:55.